welcome everybody. It's been a long year. Comms 3006, 2025. A lot of work has been done. And now we are going to celebrate all that hard work with our annual CGV Project Awards. Okay, this is where we celebrate your hard work on your games projects. So I've taken the time to curate a list of different categories and try honor the different games that really outperformed in those different categories. So firstly, congratulations to everyone. I feel like this year the overall standard has come up. Of course, previously there's been fantastic games and the likes of that, but I think in general this year the overall standard was a lot higher. It was also nice to see the introduction of the trailers and everyone's attempt to come up with some nice trailer to advertise their game. And another one of them, big steps forward, I guess, from previous years, is both the hosting on the LAMP server was done a lot better, and general user interfaces and stuff like that were a lot better as well. Whether or not that's all prompted from our friends at OpenAI, that is besides the point. Obviously, you guys are free to use these tools, and I encouraged it. So again, congratulations to everyone. Cool. So we're going to dive right in, and the first category is a sound design. So we're looking for innovative or clever ways of incorporating sound and music and these types of things into your games in appropriate ways, right? Not just having like a random cool soundtrack that doesn't fit into the universe or the story that the game is trying to portray. So the first nominee in this category is Calvin and the Chipmunks, and they made this puzzle style game where you have to rotate 3D shapes in order for their shadow to map like this projected shape on the background wall. So I mean, in regards to sound, they produced their own music for this game, so there's like obviously the innovation aspect there. Some of it was inspired by like Minecraft style themes, and of course they incorporated different sound effects based on the outcomes of the games. So yeah, congrats to Calvin and Chipmunks. The next nominee is Girls Inc. With their game where you basically take on this adventure of this axolotl called Axie and are trying to find your way back home. So it starts off with quite a somber theme, and eventually becomes a lot happier when you finally get home, after this long journey of escape. The next game and the last one in this category to be mentioned is Tenko Studios with their like driving / delivery game. This was, I wouldn't call it like a horror game, but it had like spooky or mysterious themes to it, and the audio design fully embraced that and was very consistent throughout the game as well. So yeah, Tenko Studios is our last nominee. So once again, just to summarize, the Tenko Studios Ride or Die at the bottom here, Girls Inc., their Bubbles and Bounds, and Calvin and Chipmunks with Shadowcast. And the award goes to Ride or Die from Tenko Studios, and congratulations to them. I really recommend playing this game. It was a lot of fun. So once again, congratulations to them. Cool. Next one is Best Art Direction. So again, it's all about consistency here, this consistent aesthetic, not just a random collection of assets that you pulled off different stores and stuff like that. Some sort of visual coherency is what we're looking at here, and then additional aspects of quality, fidelity, resolution, of course. For the first nominee goes to Only Games. I saw they mentioned themselves or called themselves Only Gamers in their vlog, but according to LAMP, they're called Only Games. With their puzzle game. This like sci-fi tech setting, again, super consistent across quite a long game, which was very nice to see. So yeah, beautiful game to play. So congratulations to them. The next one is Pixel Forge, the team called Pixel Forge, and I really liked. This is particularly level one, so I'm not going to comment too much on levels 2 and 3. But level one had this lovely like voxel aesthetic, where you have to try find this book to open a portal and escape. I think this idea of being like this tiny character in this large world is quite cool as well. Yeah, so Pixel Forge. The next one is another nomination to Girls Inc. Um, where again, like this is some video from the very beginning where you're trying to escape your tank, and have to escape through this sequence of very leaky. It's a very leaky room with the sequence of buckets. Yeah, you can also get a sense of the different audio and stuff like that. That was also incorporated. So once again, here are the nominees. So Only Games with Aperture Protocol, Pixel Forge with Adventures in Between, and Girls Inc. with Bubbles and Bounds. So the award goes to Bubbles and Bounds by Girls Inc. For their art direction. Congratulations again to this team of this team here. Cool. Moving on, we have narrative. So it's all about the storyline. It's not necessarily something that's like focused on directly in the rubric, but it's also, it's a necessity when it comes to a game. Some sort of clarity in story, some sort of resolution, some purpose. All of these types of things are what we looked into when it came to the narrative. So again, Girls Inc. had a very interesting narrative about the axolotl and relating that to concerns about like pollution and stuff like that. It's quite educational as well with some of the nice not statistics but like fun facts when it came when it came to axolotls. The next nominee is Project Her from Bite Me. This was a horror-style puzzle game where you're trying to unveil this mystery at this mansion as like a private investigator. So obviously I'm not going to spoil the story at all, but it's quite, again, there's quite a few things to this. There's also like some side characters as well, which are quite interesting to interact with. Next is Tenko Studios. Again, this like a delivery or like taxi service style game. What was very cool here or interesting here is I think that this team's probably inspired by like, I don't know if it was like Dark Souls or like Undertale. These types of games where it's not like the narrative is explicitly told to you, but it's like through the interaction with the characters in the world, you pick up on like certain things here and there. And that eventually like reveals the overarching story of our like main character. So yeah, again, I thought that was quite clever in how they did that, and it definitely kept me playing longer just to see where things went. The next one is quite a humorous game. I'll play the clip for you now from 200 Not Okay. And it's, it follows kind of like a student's journey across the 3 years of varsity, first year, second year, third year. And then, obviously in first year, it's all about interaction with Steve and Richard. So you'll see that here.
If we do not get the nodes, we are screwed.
Calm down.
So yeah, I really encourage you guys to play this one as well. It's a lot of fun. Cool. So nominees are as shown here: Bubbles and Bounds, Project Her, Ride or Die, and The Edge. Obviously, that's what Wits gives you. Um, and the award goes to Project Her. So again, this was quite an interesting story, and I liked how the puzzles directly like interfaced with the story and kept it moving along. And the puzzles themselves were really good as well. So yeah, congratulations to Bite Me with this game. Cool. Next one is like a new category, best trailer, because this was like a requirement this year as opposed to previous years. So here we're looking for like something that would serve as a good advert to the game. So not necessarily just giving like gameplay, but like trying to tease um, some of the narrative or tones of the game out, um, as well as just incorporating maybe some sort of like VFX type of video editing to make it a little bit more impactful and visually memorable. So the first nominee is from a team called Backrooms Escape. I'm going to play a bit of the trailer here for you now. Um, so yeah, this one was quite a good example of all the things I just described. Using additional like VFX style video editing, it matches the tone of the game. So yeah, nicely done to this team. Another one that's similar in that vein is a bit more on the humor side of things in terms of tone was a group called Control Alt Delinquents with their game called Tiny Escape, where you're a tiny character and you have to try and escape, obviously.
Let's get into it.
Shouldn't have fallen in love. Look what it made me become. I let you get too close just to wake up alone. And I know you think you could run.
Sorry, that's my bad.
Let's get into it.
Shouldn't have fallen in love. Look what it made me become. I let you get too close just to wake up alone. And I know you think you could run. You're scared to believe I'm the one, but I just can't let you go. I let the world.
So if I'm being honest, the game itself didn't necessarily live up to the trailer, but the trailer was very nicely done. Yeah, so congratulations to Control Alt Delinquents. The next one is Orion, Team Orion, with Timmy's Lost Treasure, and they actually thought about the storyboarding a bit in their devlog, which was cool to see. But here's their trailer. Oh, I need to stop doing that. I'll skip ahead. And then lastly, again from 200 Not Okay, with a game called The Edge. Here is their trailer.
Peggy 12. Open brackets. Some mandatory legal stuff. Close brackets. In a world where students fail like there's no tomorrow. 200 Not Okay gives you a chance to conquer the edge. In doing so, one man.
So the nominees then for Best Trailer are here. So it's the okay, well, the winner as well is Team The Backrooms Escape. Again, highly edited, which is very cool. It stood way above the other team. Well, the other teams. Sorry, my mouse is giving issues. And I was pleasantly surprised actually, because obviously I didn't really teach any particular video editing or anything like that. But this one was really well done. So congratulations to the Backrooms Escape team with their game called A Familiar Place. Cool. So moving on to most fun to play. So this is an interesting category. So it's not necessarily like the best game or something like that, but it was a game that kept me coming back to, want to either achieve a very high score or, had some enjoyable mechanics that were rewarding and so on. So it's all about engagement, interactivity, replayability, that type of thing. So the first nominee for most fun is from Tenko Studios. Again, in the dialogue and narrative aside and all of that, the driving physics and mechanics were actually one of the better representations of vehicle-based movement. It wasn't perfect, if I'm being honest, but it was definitely very... You could get used to it if you get used to somehow how the physics works. I also liked the shop mechanic where you can, buy additional, stronger engines and so on and so forth to go faster. Yeah. The next game that was very fun to play was from Oni Games. This was a puzzle game that had a lot of different puzzles. And not like simple puzzles either, like quite complex. Here you can see some like the visual effects and that type of thing, where you have to try to find these binary numbers. So again, like just trying to finish this in the lots of time on the different difficulties was very fun. A special mention I think goes to Into Hardware, which was like a Souls-like game, which is like the first of its kind that was pretty good, I would say, compared to previous years. I'm going to put a little asterisk because I'm mainly talking about the first level here, which is what you can see. The second and third levels were not as well polished, if I'm being fair. But this was still quite fun to play to, learn a bit of like the iframe mechanics or try to figure out if there were any. As well as the hitboxes and those types of things. The next nominee is from a group called the Part-Timers, who were actually part of the part-time stream for this like parkour styled runner where you have to collect these like gems. It was very, very smooth. And I really enjoyed trying to just do it faster and faster, basically. So that's why. Although there wasn't like a leaderboard or anything, which was maybe slightly unfortunate. But yeah, it was still fun to play. Cool. So our nominees are Crystal Collector from the Part-Timers, The Woken Nightmare from Into Hardware, The Aperture Protocol from Only Games, and Tenko Studios, which is again our winner for most fun. So yeah, congratulations to them. This was also quite fun because of the dialogue itself. All the story made me want to play more, and then as you got better with the mechanics, that also was enjoyable in terms of the driving experience. The next game, or the next category we're looking at, is most innovative. So, taking difficult, innovative ideas and trying to implement them in 3JS is not always easy. I look back to last year where they built Minecraft levels, exported them into Blender, and then brought them from Blender into like a 3JS world. So these are the things that we're looking at, like, clever ideas, implementing difficult technology, that type of thing. So the first nominee goes to the Backrooms Escape team. This is the team that won the trailer. And they had a very clever, and obviously I'm a little partial to this because it's like a CGV course. They had a very clever mechanic where you had these lights, but you could layer the lights to get like different colors, and based on those colors, you would then be able to open different doors. So, the red light would open the red door, and then, well, I don't want to spoil all the puzzles, but you would use a combination of the lights to, do to open these doors. Then the next nominees goes to 200 Not Okay. And it was very exploitable and glitchy, the game, which is like one of its weaknesses. But one thing that was really cool is, and some people did this, was they implemented like graphic settings options and that type of thing. But particularly for this one, I think their like technical achievement here was very good. So yeah, congrats to 200 Not Okay for this nomination. The next nomination goes to, or the next nominee is Only Games. Again, they had such a variety of puzzles and like these types of things. Some puzzles had you drawing like state diagrams, like on a circuit diagram type of idea. They had these interactions with like laptops and different interfaces like that. There was just so much going on, really. Like no one puzzle was the same. It wasn't just about finding numbers and placing a number on a lock, which was something I really appreciated. So yeah, congrats to them on that. And here are the nominees, with the winner being the Aperture Protocol from Only Gamers. Again, insanely well done to this group. Just the variety, the innovation in puzzles put you quite above the rest in terms of this category, I would say. Cool. The next one is like a category-based game. So it's like the best horror game, the best spooky game. So this is all about, atmosphere, immersion, a bit of horror elements as well. If you can get my heart rate going, that would obviously be a plus. So yeah. And the first nominee is that Project Her game that we've spoken about already from Bite Me. Again, the themes, the atmosphere was executed quite well. I don't want to say too much about like some of the elements inside the game, just as not to spoil it. But you definitely feel like you're not alone, which adds to that anticipation. Cool. The next nominee is Pixel Perfect, with, I think the game's called Mutation Detected, if I can't remember, or I'm trying to remember. And again, a similar one to Project Her in terms of this like spooky horror vibe. In like this testing facility, you start reading all these notes about what has been going on, and that kind of like alludes to the story. So yeah, the next nomination for Best Spooky. So we have Pixel Busters with their game, which reminded me, I don't know if this was intentional or unintentional, but it reminded me a lot about a game called Little Nightmares, where you are this like small character in a big world, who wears a similar looking outfit. But again, the lighting, the audio, these types of things or lead you to believe that you're in a hostile environment, so to speak. And then, as mentioned earlier, it's like, not your traditional like horror game. It's more like a psychological horror, should we say? And that really comes through in like the story, like when you try to piece together what has happened, who are you, and these types of things in this quite gloomy city, while taking passengers to and fro. So here are the nominees: Project Her, Mutation Detective, Detective Not Detective, Detected, Place of Requiem, and Ride or Die, with the winner going to Project Her and Bite Me. Oh, sorry, the game called Project Her from Team Bite Me. Again, the atmosphere, the dread, that type of thing. It was also nice that there was some slight usage of like jump scare-ish mechanics, but overall it was a little bit deeper than that. So congratulations to them. Cool. The next one is Best Puzzle, because there were quite a few puzzle games this year, and I think the standard of puzzle games has increased so much. So I thought we could make it its own category. So actually, this blurb here is incorrect, but when I'm trying to play a puzzle game, I'm looking for variety in puzzles, some sort of creativity in it as well. The lights that we talked about before, not just being all about like what you have to go through in escape rooms, where it's just about finding the numbers and placing the numbers in the lock, and these types of things. You want the puzzles to be more well integrated into the world. And also, what I liked about some of them this year was that they weren't like super obvious, right? There would be aspects that you'd have to think like 1 or 2 steps down the line, and like, oh, okay, this makes sense, and therefore that must be that. It wasn't just, I see a number in a book and I know I need to try to find numbers, and therefore I put that number in and it works. So the first nominee is from Oni Games. This was just a stellar example of like finding like these loose hints from one thing and then applying them to something else. So like images, or this like display over here about the city. It doesn't hold your hand, which for a puzzle game, that's exactly what I want. So you can see opening like these interfaces that gives you some little piece of information, but it isn't just that piece of information. There's lots of information. You have to try piece together what's the important part, and so on and so forth. The next one is Project Her from Bite Me again. Again, the puzzles here make sense to the story, and it isn't like super obvious. They do guide you with hints a little bit too much, I would say. But again, I like the fact that it wasn't trivial, which is cool. Again, for a horror game as well, that's nice, because you don't want to just be able to speed run through everything. You need to build that anticipation up. Pixel Perfect, a similar vein to the previous one. They had some interesting puzzles. I particularly like the one at the very end. Obviously, I'm not going to tell you how to solve that. But yeah, so as well as the fact that your torch is constantly draining, really puts the pressure on when you try to think about what's the solution to some of these trickier puzzles. Yeah. Next nominee is Moon Dancer, and they had quite a few. They had a few different puzzles, but this was my favorite one, purely because I think it's a very clever idea to integrate what you're learning from one course and applying it in another course. However, like this arrangement was a bit trivial in terms of, I don't know if it's randomly generated actually, but yeah, we solved this one pretty quick. Cool. So here are the nominees. All right. Project Her, the Aperture Protocol mutation detected. You. And the winner goes to the Aperture Protocol. Again, a very, very wide variety of puzzles, a lot of puzzles, multiple levels. It was so much fun to play, really. And the types of puzzles that we came out this year, especially from this group, if I would compare to last year and the year before, like they're way, way more advanced. Yeah. And it was nice that the puzzles were also like made sense to be within the universe. Right? So yeah, I encourage you to play this one. Cool. So that leads us ultimately to Game of the Year. All right. So this is like your top games that should be well-rounded, like feature highly in all of these different categories, as well as more explicitly towards like what we were testing in the rubric and so on and so forth. It should be a game that I feel like could go on, and if it's been polished and so on and so forth, actually be published. So yeah. So my nominees for Game of the Year go to Tenko Studios. All right, for their atmospheric Dark Souls, Undertale story-esque, psychological taxi transport game. So congratulations to you guys. The next nominee goes to Oni Games for their insanely cool puzzle game. It kind of actually reminds me of System Shock if I'm thinking about it now a little bit. You're trying to fix this system that's kind of broken in a way, or you're trying to hack into the system that's trying to fight against you, essentially. It has, I guess, some Portal elements as well to it, where you shouldn't trust everything that you see. So yeah, once again, congrats to Oni Games. And then lastly, congratulations to Bite Me, which is the horror game Project Her again, with your there is an antagonist character in the game, and there's some features of that I haven't talked about a lot, but the AI behind that, slightly reminiscent of like Alien Isolation. All of these different things were pretty cool. There's themes regarding like Outlast, where you gotta try hide, and again, just a very good, well-rounded game. Okay, so obviously I can't announce a winner now, but for these three teams, what that means is that you will present your work here on the 28th of November during our Innovation Day, to which the winner of that presentation, if you want to call it, will become the Game of the Year, essentially. So congratulations to these nominees, but a huge congratulations to everyone involved this year. Like I said, the projects have come a long way, and they just seem to be getting better each year. So yeah, again, to our winners, I'll be contacting you separately, just to explain the process a little bit better. But to everyone else, again, congrats, good luck with the results of the exams, and good luck with the years to come.